Good evening and welcome to the board meeting for the Village of Bartlett, February 18th, 2014. I call this meeting to order. Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Ahrens, absent. Camerer?
Here.
Carbonaro?
Here.
Martin?
Here.
Ranke?
Here.
Shipman?
Here.
President Wallace?
Here, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Moving on to the consent agenda. The consent agenda, all items listed with an asterisk are considered to be routine and will be enacted in one motion. There will be no separate discussion on these items unless the board member so requests, in which event the item will be removed from the general order of business and considered at the appropriate time in the agenda. At this point, is there anything that anyone would like to add or remove from the consent agenda? Hearing none, we'll move along. I entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved. Second.
Moved by Trustee Camerer, seconded by Trustee Shipman. The clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Camerer?
Yes.
Carbonaro?
Yes.
Martin?
Yes.
Ranke?
Yes.
Shipman?
Yes.
Motion carries. Next item on the list is Treasurer's Report. I believe we have some information from our Treasurer.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Starting out with the sales tax report for the fiscal year through November 2013. Fiscal year-to-date revenue for sales tax is $1,424,705, and it is right now it is 0.94% lower than the same time period last year, and is trending very close to budget. The motor fuel tax allotment report for fiscal year through December 2013. Our fiscal year-to-date revenue is $1,009,350 and is 4.67% up from the same time period last year. Continues to do very well. So that concludes my report for this evening.
Thank you, Jeff. Next item on the agenda is President's Report. There is none this evening. Next item is questions and answers. Any questions from the board at this time? I would just have one for you, Jeff. What's the impact on the retail sales tax, this Dominic's? Do you know what the annual is? I know I've asked you before, but...
Right. We did have a sales tax sharing agreement with Dominic's some years back, and I had a chance to review that. There's a potential to lose about $184,000 from what we had seen going back. I think it was 2008 was the last year. So that's the potential. Our hope is that some of that business will go to the Jewel or stay in town. So we're not quite sure how much we'll lose or if we'll lose any through the Dominic's closing, but last report shows about $184,000 a year.
Thank you. Is there any other questions or comments at this time? Hearing none, we'll move on to the town hall portion of the meeting. At this point, we'd ask if you're interested in addressing the board, you come up to the podium. Please state your name and address for the record, and please keep your comments to 3 minutes.
Hi, good evening. My name is Stephanie Hopkins, and my husband Adam and I live at 225 Tatchie here in Bartlett. We wanted to begin by thanking the Public Works Department for all the work so far with snow removal this year as it continues, but thanks for that. Our main concern tonight, however, is to bring an issue to the board regarding the water department billing practices for rental properties. To review, for an example, for anyone who's not familiar with the current practice, water consumption, for example, in October is billed November 1st. The bill is due by November 21st. If the bill's not paid, it's not considered overdue until December 21st. If the bill's still not paid, a disconnection notice is sent January 1st. And if the bill continues not to be paid, the water will be shut off January 16th. So it makes it possible that October's water bill can be left unpaid without any action until the middle of January. So because of the current village ordinance that homeowners are responsible for unpaid water bills by their tenants, my husband and I were left with a $687 water bill. We understand that the village wants to work with people and give them the benefit of the doubt. However, we don't believe that this should happen at the expense of the homeowner. Because the water bill is ultimately the responsibility of the homeowner, tenants can manipulate the system by ringing up astronomical bills on someone else's dime. So we did speak with a lot of helpful village staff. The process was explained to us because at first we just could not wrap our minds around a $687 water bill. But we do respectfully disagree with the unwritten protocols for how this is allowed to happen. We appreciate that the Assistant Finance Director took $122 off of our bill because the Water Department didn't follow their own protocol and the water wasn't shut off till January 30th. So he took the difference off between January 16th when it should have been shut off and January 30th when it was finally shut off. And he did remove the late fees, but this still leaves us with a bill of $564. The tenants were evicted as of January 30th, and anyone who's gone through that process knows that it's long and expensive. And an additional bill of $564 on top of this expensive process is a hardship that we don't believe should be put on individuals. Adam has been a village resident for 34 years, and I for 7. The rental property of which we speak is my old townhouse where I lived before we got married. The mortgage is upside down, and renting it out really is our only choice. So, we're left in this situation. We just wanted the village and the board to possibly review the billing practices, especially considering when a bill is considered late, and regarding possible separate protocols for homeowners and tenants. We'd love to see procedures where owners are protected from tenants running up large account balances. Additionally, we'd appreciate if there's any more time that can be given to looking at this $564 bill and ways to reduce it to possibly remove some of the burden from us. Thank you.
Thank you. Did we want to comment, staff, on how that works and if we've had this happen in the past where we've had people question that?
Yes, I did have a chance to review the issue at hand, and it's not uncommon that we do have tenant-landlord disputes via water bills. However, the village, by ordinance, does require that homeowners also be responsible for the bill if that tenant does leave to protect the village. It's my understanding, though, that because the homeowner was also listed on the account, that notices were sent out about the tenant being late. So unfortunately, we have to be bound by the ordinance, and when water is used, we do bill that. But we do try to communicate with homeowners in these types of situations through notices. Mm-hmm. So I understand that it's a hardship, but, when water is used, we do have to bill for that.
Right. And like we said, we're just, looking at when it's considered late. I think, that October water isn't actually shut off until November or January if it's not paid. Just looking at that, if the bill is sent November 1st, the due date's November 21st, but it's not actually considered late till December 21st, that seems like a long time. If your mortgage is due the 1st, you have until the 15th, but if you don't pay it the 16th, it's 16 days late, not 1 day late. So
right.
That's just...
We have to go through that process of giving ample notices before we shut off water. That's why that is almost a 2-month process. And in the interim there, we keep sending notices. We're in contact with the account that's late, and that's the process that leads to shut off. So we do have to follow that protocol.
At any time, could she have shut the water off since she was getting notices too and she's the homeowner?
No.
And to bring up your example, we were getting the notices, but they weren't paying their rent, so they weren't paying the water bill.
The tenant has legal rights not to have the water shut off. That's the issue. We just can't shut utilities off.
Right. All right.
Thank you for bringing that to our attention.
All right. Thank you.
Would anybody else like to address the board at this time? Hearing none, we'll move on to the next item on the agenda is under Standing Committee reports. First Standing Committee report is under Planning and Zoning Committee. Chairman Camerer.
Thank you, Mr. President. We have no report on Planning and Zoning this evening.
Thank you, Chairman Camerer. Next Standing Committee report is under the Building Committee. Chairman Martin.
I have no report this evening. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Chairman Martin. Next Standing Committee report is under Finance and Golf. Chairman Ranke.
Thank you, Mr. President. The only item that we have on the agenda for this evening is the website redesign RFP. Perhaps staff could fill us in on that a bit.
Thank you, Trustee Ranky. In 1997, we established the village website, and in 2006, we did a partial upgrade to the site. And this past summer, we put together a team of technical users and non-technical users from the village staff and sent out the RFP that's before you. We solicited a redesign. We sent the notice to the chamber and published it, and we received 21 bids. The memo outlines the 4 survivors, I guess. We looked at a multitude of criteria from use to not only used by the village in propagating the pages, but also used for the community and the business community using the site, security and storage, and the ability to integrate all the things that we asked the site to do. We were pleased with the responses that we did get. The team then did trials of sample websites done by the communities for both operation and look, and we determined that the submittal by
Vision
Internet was the one that could meet all our needs.
How much do we pay now for hosting it a year?
$4,800.
No, that's what they want to charge for.
It's about $600.
Okay.
Then Paul, the annual fee is $4,800 for the
Before we
host site?
Before we start talking about it, we have a motion to pass this, and then we can have some discussion
Okay.
on it.
All right.
I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved by Trustee Camerer, seconded by Trustee Martin, to pass a resolution approving the website development agreement and subscription services agreement between Vision Internet Providers Incorporated in the Village of Bartlett, Resolution 2014-11. Is there any discussion?
Yes, could you?
Yeah, I just wanted to address your question regarding the differences in the maintenance price. It's really a difference of comparing apples and oranges. Our current hosting provider strictly is just purely hosting. I mean, it's just a place to put an HTML page on a website and for people to access it. There really is very little, if any, support from them whatsoever. There's no content management system. They're just, it's really as bare bones as it possibly could be. So it's not really a good comparison to compare them to what Vision Internet would provide.
Okay. And I'm not saying that it's unreasonable or anything else. It looks to me like it's probably a reasonable fee. I did notice it's a 4-year term. Is that correct? That you're in it for 4 years?
Yes, and really that would be because we wouldn't want to look at a complete redesign again of the website for at least another 4 years. And because you're relying on their content management system, you kind of want to make sure that they're providing that support through at least a minimum of 4 years is what you would say a minimum lifetime for that website would be.
And compared to other potential hosting companies, is an annual increase of 5% reasonable?
Yeah, that was pretty much standard from all the different providers that we've looked at. And the prices, for their support kind of range kind of like the prices for the design.
Okay.
Some were higher, some were lower.
All right.
So right now, if we had something we had to update, we would do it ourselves?
Yeah, I mean, there's really only 2 of us that have the necessary skills to make the changes now.
So this would free one of you.
This would actually, because it uses a content management system, it's really something that could be used by anybody without any particular skill set.
Oh, so we would still be doing our own updates?
We're in fact, one of the things the content management system brings to us is the ability for more departments to be involved in updating that content.
Oh, great.
Okay, dumb it down for me. So the day after we spend our $25,000, what's different than it is today?
Initially, nothing. It's.
Oh, not a good answer.
Well, there's going to take some time to design the site, to design some of the features, to transfer the information from our current site to the new site.
That's what I say. When we flip the switch from old to new, what's the new going to have the old doesn't?
It's going to look entirely different. You're going to be able to search the site much quicker. You're going to be able to look at it on your tablet. You're going to be able to look at it on your phone, which we don't have the ability to do that now. You're going to be able to, we'll be able to store actually more, our transparency requirements and our data requirements are getting much higher in terms of what we store on the site. So being able to have a site that can hold all that, it was really important to us. So those are some of the things that we'll see differently. We'll bring it to you so you can see those changes.
Did we, Eric, were you done?
Yeah, I think so.
Is there another town, and don't say it if there is, that we're doing a model off of? There's something out there we like already?
We spent way more time than I think we should have looking at websites of other towns that we liked, the layouts. There's not one town in particular.
Just a
we
couple.
really kind of cherry-picked from a lot of sites. We like these menus. We like the way this one operates. We like the look of this one. We don't like that. So it is kind of an amalgamation of a lot of different sites. We looked for what we liked the best of many, and then looked in particular at sites that were local. And then we also looked at municipal sites in particular.
And Vision's giving us everything you want?
Yes.
Okay.
I noticed you had 5 actually, Crystal Lake, Elk Grove Village, Hoffman Estates, and Northbrook, 4 different villages around here that have used these folks.
Yes.
So I took the liberty to load them on my Droid. There's a vast difference between the usability with Crystal Lake and Northbrook site versus Elk Grove Village and Hoffman Estates.
Some of that could be the age of the site.
Well, and actually, in the case of Hoffman Estates, they originally only went with a hosting on their own plan, and have recently decided, because by doing a hosting only or hosting your own, you don't get any of the new changes or enhancements that Vision Internet makes. So you'll notice, like you said, some of the sites are responsive in design where they look proper, and others aren't.
Which part of the proposal here to subscription of services is the dynamic that allows the website to automatically adjust to mobile?
Yeah, that's referred to as responsive design.
Okay,
and it was one of our main goals when we were picking
Okay, that's good. I mean, just look at Crystal Lake's site. It's unbelievable on my phone. Nice. The only other question that I had was the tech support. I would imagine that their tech support is only as viable as their financial wherewithal, right? So is part of this process checking out how financially stable this particular company is?
They do websites, and they specialize in government websites, but they do websites across the country. I mean, they do West Hollywood, Palm Springs.
United used to fly across the country too.
So yeah, they're going to be around for a while.
Okay, but that is part of the due diligence, I would assume. Okay.
Definitely.
All right. Anybody else?
Yeah, so then we're all done?
Yeah, if there's no other discussion, clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Camerer,
Yes.
Carbonaro,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Ranky,
Yes.
Shipman.
Yes.
Motion carries. How frequently do you think when are they going to get started on that? I should have asked that before.
6 months.
Tomorrow.
Like yesterday?
Apparently they can start tomorrow now.
Okay. How long is the process?
About a 6-month process
Okay.
to do the whole thing.
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you, Mr. President. That's all we have on finance and golf.
Thank you, Chairman Ranky. Next item on the agenda is under License and Ordinance Committee. Chairman Carbonaro.
Thank you, Mr. President. Nothing further to report.
Thank you, Chairman Carbonaro. Next item on the agenda is under Police and Health Committee. Chairman Shipman.
Nothing this evening, Mayor.
Thank you, Chairman Shipman. Next item on the agenda is under Public Works Committee. Chairman Aaron's. I asked Chairman Ranky to take over for Chairman Aaron's. Chairman Aaron's.
Thank you again, Mr. President. The two items on Public Works for this evening have already been addressed under the consent agenda.
Thank you, Chairman Ranky. Next item on the agenda is new business. At this point, does anybody have any new business for the good of the order? Hearing none, we will move on to questions and answers. Anybody else have any questions about our website? Okay.
In our packet, we got a letter, and I was just wondering how many years Paul Kessler has been with us.
Let me answer that question. It will be April 1st, and we thought we would celebrate it because you have a board meeting on April 1st, 40 years.
40 years with Bartlett.
That's correct, and he will and is the longest tenured employee that we have had.
I'd like to personally thank you for sticking with Bartlett for your career.
And this isn't just an April Fool's joke, right?
It might be.
Yeah.
I think we have plenty of opportunities to talk with Paul and maybe even beat him up a little bit more before he's gone. Any other questions and answers? Or answers? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.